discussion on this. So we're going to move straight into the questions and answer session. And I'm going to be joined by the lawyers on the expert advisory group, Dr. Ronan Doyle from Trinity College, Professor Deirdre Madden from University College Cork, and Dr. Rachel Walsh from Trinity College Dublin. And they will assist in responding to your questions and comments concerning the wording of the draft ballot 1. And just to remind you what I said in the private session earlier, what they are going to address are specific issues in relation to the ballot paper. They're not going to address issues in relation to the wider context, for example, the content of presentations we had over the earlier weeks. So also bear in mind that there are mics available, and also bear in mind what I said earlier about speaking slowly and clearly so that the stenographer can capture everything that is said. Thank you very much.
How are we doing? Dave, table 6. In the event of a tied vote, what is the procedure? That if that there was equal, if there was spoiled votes that brought the numbers down to an equal number of both options, what is the procedure there?
I can answer that question, and I'll be dealing with that later. It's strange, it might have been wise to deal with it on this explanation. You have been given the resolution of the Oireachtas in the material you were given this morning. Isn't that right? And you'll see that it provides that if there's equality of votes, the chairperson has a casting vote. So that really answers that. I may explain that more fully later, but that's the position. Say if on the first ballot there was 40 and 40, the chairperson would have a casting vote. And incidentally, I mean, I've done my homework on this particular issue, and it sort of reflects the position of the Ceann Comhairle in the Dáil. If there isn't a majority in the sense that there's equality of votes, the Ceann Comhairle has a casting vote. And the wording used in the Oireachtas resolution is very similar to the wording in Article 15, Section 11 of the Constitution. I'm sure you all brought your constitutions with you, I see a lot of you did. So that answers that question.
Good morning. I'm a citizen on table 12. My question relates to ballot 2 and 3. It says if a majority votes for option 1, we do one thing. If a majority votes for option 2, we do something else. What happens if the majority is for stating no opinion in either of those votes?
If what happens in ballot 2 and ballot 3, the majority votes for no opinion. If the majority votes in favour of no opinion. So this is the question, whether it's excluding no opinion for the purposes of calculating the vote.
Yeah.
We're not dealing with ballot 1 now. This is not.
We're only dealing with ballot 1 at the moment, and I mean, obviously we will have to cross that bridge if we come to it. I haven't given it a lot of consideration, but
yeah, we have.
Have we?
Yeah. You did.
Sorry.
Well, no, I'll just make it clear, because in fairness, it was the judge who twigged this more than anybody. But so in the event that the majority votes for. So for the purposes of determining a majority, and this is provided for in the note that the judge referred to about the voting procedures. So for the purposes of determining majority, you'll see on your note, that note, on page 2 of that note, it says, in ballot 1, a majority be determined by a reference to the total votes cast in favour of option 1 and option 2. But in relation to ballot 3 and ballot 2 and ballot 3, as you've just asked about, the majority in those cases would be determined by reference to the total votes cast in favour of both option 1 and option 2. So in other words, the results will count the fact that, you know, in absolute terms it will say, so for argument's sake, it's 33, 33, 33 across the 3 options, but for the purposes of determining a majority, only the votes cast in respect of option 1 and option 2 will be counted and then used to determine the majority.
In fact, I will be reiterating that in relation to every ballot paper for the avoidance of doubt. This is the position. So, do you follow that? Yeah, very good. And sorry for causing the confusion at the start. Any other questions?
Sorry, my question is in relation to ballot paper 4C, parts 1 and 2. I don't know how to ask this question other than sort of giving an example, because I'm not too sure of the implications for the second part.
Sorry, could I just interrupt you? We are focusing only on ballot 1 for the purpose of this questions and answers
session. Is there an opportunity to ask questions later on?
Absolutely. In every case, in the event that we arrive at those ballots, there'll be exactly the same format as this for questions.
Perfect. Okay.
In fact, having followed a roundtable discussion, as I've said, this is the only ballot in relation to which we're not having a roundtable discussion, because we thought it was just, there were 2 options and they're phrased in plain language, and we thought it wasn't necessary. So are the members seem to be happy that they understand what is asked of them in ballot 1. Well, then we'll move on to ballot 1. And the voting.